too late for you to write one up and declare that they gave you nothing, no consideration in return for the value you gave them. Therefore, it manifests a trust. A trust can be created the same way a contract can be created. It can be implied. Their actions can create a trust. It can be orally expressed, or it can be in written form. The fact that you gave them something of value and don't have a receipt to prove the value that you extended to them, and then they turn around and call you the debtor, and then they default you and send you a bunch of slanderous, liable, defaming letters saying you're the debtor and you owe a debt and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
How do you personally feel about the SF30, 1414, 1416, and 1418?
Say that again?
How do you feel about the
How do you feel
SF30?
about?
No, how do you feel about those? I like the SF30 because you can modify or cancel the contracts that you didn't enter into with full disclosure, but you can also take that form and make them do whatever you want since the contract exists. And then you got the 1414, 1418. I like to use those because since they already have their hands in the cookie jar that they're not supposed to be in, I direct them to give me more money. I direct them to go ahead and give them the permission to go in there where they've been at and do what I want them to do. I'm about to use those with the Social Security Administration.
Yeah, that's where you want to know the stipends, the futures, the annuities, the accrual rate, because the trustee's getting those funds every month. And they're actually sending you a state showing you that that they're in constructive possession of your credits and debits. Credit this account and debit this account. We're done. It's paper. We never finished completing the transaction. And therefore, they hold our property in abeyance because they don't know who you are. That's the importance of filing the IRS form 2848 power of attorney. I did my own power of attorney, but if you use their forms, it expedites it because they recognize that shit, right? Power of attorney to the 2848. Also, there's a SF that clears you for checks of attorney to receive checks from the United States Treasury. Why haven't none of you guys filled that shit out? See, part of the problem is, and part of the reason you're not getting your credits and debits or your account debited and credited properly is because they don't even know who the fuck you are.
You named that last
giving them notice.
Check you out. Can you mention that one again?
SF 322 and 321, they're hard to find, but when you find them, there's special power of attorney forms, and then there's also one for the DTC you can fill out as well in the DTCC, because when you were born, the county birth record was sent to the county comptroller of the currency first that created an account in the county for you. Then they sent the original birth application to the state registrar that created the estate. So you have an account, and you have now the state registrar, who's the chief probate officer, that creates the estate. Then that birth certificate application then goes to the Treasury. The Treasury sends it to the Treasury of the United States. The Treasury of the United States then goes to cooperative agreement with the United States and sends it over to the DTC. Okay, the DTC turns around and issues another security from that birth application, because remember, it's a pledge of your future labor and precious value time commodity. So then the DTC turns around and kicks the profits from that to the Federal Reserve, which allows them to go to the comptroller of the currency to print new Federal Reserve notes. Before that happens, though, the DTC turns around and kicks over that birth certificate application, which is the original security proving that you have the beneficial interest in it. They turn around and kick it over to the IMF, and the IMF tells the Social Security Administration to go ahead and issue out a Social Security account number so they can keep track of all the new securities and money you create in the economy during your existence. So when your mom registers you for kindergarten, that creates a new security. When you go to the doctor's office and they ask you to fill out an application, that creates a new security. When you go to get a car loan, a fucking house loan, or whatever, all of those applications money.
Performance bonds.
And that's why people say, oh, don't get a social security number, don't get a birth certificate, have your baby at home, all that stuff. That's all fucking nonsensical horseshit. And the reason that people go to prison for that is because they're actually denying their children their inheritance, because the United States owes them. And that's how they prove. Otherwise, people from Russia would come over here and be fleecing your estate. And I'm not saying they're not, because they are. They're doing it through corporations and 501c3s, 508c1as, and so on and so forth. But a Russian citizen just can't come over here and use their credentials and get the full faith and credit of the United States. It's different, all right? Russia has the same setup, but it's different amongst the countries. So, like, you're not allowed to take a United States security out of the United States, which means if you take a birth certificate out of the United States and try and negotiate it in a foreign country, they'll fucking hammer you for being an enemy belligerent combatant negotiating a United States security without the authorization of the United States. They will smoke your ass. I know people that have done it. They went to prison for 5 years for doing it. And they went over to England because they knew a banker, and a banker fucking turned around and put a $10 million bond on the birth certificate and issued them a couple $1 million. And when they came back to the United States, they were arrested immediately at customs. Immediately. And what they were charged with was laundering United States securities outside the United States without the United States permission.
It makes sense because
financial
the birth certificicate is a bond. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you go and have it authenticated. And for what country? Oh, I'm going to go to Canada. Oh, I'm going to go to Brazil. Oh, I'm going here. That is the bond and the indemnification in case you cause harm, damage, loss, or hardship over in that other country.